Hi, everybody. Welcome to February. However you say it. I've never looked forward to February. I've always considered it the longest month of the year, which is why the calendar gods made it only 28 and sometimes 29 days. But this January was so bleak for so many reasons that I'm kind of looking forward to February. So I think we're going to look forward to some of our wines. Wine number one. Super excited. Charlotte Dalton, Love You, Love Me, Semillon. Charlotte Dalton is the name of the winery. The winemaker is Charlotte Hardy. Super excited. She's going to be our guest next week for the Zoom. Next week, 2 weeks for the Zoom. She's cool. She's very cool. She's a New Zealander who's worked around the world making wine. And was making wine in the Adelaide Hills, which is a cooler region, believe it or not, of Australia, in an area called Basket Range, which is where a lot of the hip winemaking is happening. Australian wines were big, 80s, 90s, big, over the top, very rich, opulent wines. Everyone wanted a Shiraz. And the sales kind of fell off the table because those wines got to be kind of cartoonish and monotone and just exaggerated. I guess that's what I mean by cartoonish. So Australian wine sales really fell, and it's not easy to get the wine here. But there's been a new wave movement, and also climate has been, of course, killer. I mean, we even know about all the fires happening there and the heat waves and what have you. But it's not all heat and fires there. And again, Adelaide Hills tend to be cooler, higher elevation, and Charlotte was there with her husband making wine, and she decided to still get her grapes from there, but she moved with her two young children to like 10 minutes from the ocean. And she still sources her wines there, but even though she makes low intervention wines, she didn't want to get sort of lumped in with this big natural wine movement that was happening in that area. So she still makes these beautiful wines, and I'm fascinated to talk to her because she says that her winemaking has changed since she's become a mother. And I think that's going to be an interesting thing to talk with her about, and gave me an idea maybe to even talk to her about it for an article. She does make Shiraz called a Love Me, Love You. But again, I wanted the Semillon. One of the reasons I wanted a Semillon was because it's winter and we're doing whites with sweaters, as I like to call them. Semillon tends to be a bit richer, waxier, beeswaxy, oily, even not as high in acid. This one's pretty complex. I mean, it is barrel aged, but it's neutral barrel. It's been aged on the lees, which is the dead yeast, which gives a creaminess. But this is not an over the top California style wine or opulent, rich, high heat Arizona wine. Excuse me, Australian wine. It's got a lot of nuance to it. So it's she likes to refer to it as both playful and naughty, as a good girl and not a good girl, and it's again, I thought it was a white wine that would go really good with winter. It'll pair with a lot of white wine dishes that have a little more richness to it. So if you've got butter or cream in that dish, if you have a fattier fish, think salmon, think monkfish, think bass, sea bass. I mean, think something that's got more heft or meatiness to it. Think a little bit richer chicken dishes, pork dishes. Again, this is a very, very versatile food wine when you need a white wine that's kind of going to go with, not too light a meal. The flavor profile on Semillon is more appley. There might be a little citrus in there, but it's more appley or stone fruit, pear, dried apple. It could be floral. It could be very herbaceous, very, nice dried herbs. So think of all those things when you're putting together a menu and what you're trying to pair it with. So, I think this is going to be a good one. I also wanted something with love in the title. It's Valentine's Day this month, right? So, and that's an awesome label made by a really cool person and who just loves the whole winemaking process and really loves her wines. So, I was really excited to get this. It's imported by Wine Dogs. Wine Dogs. We had, some of you will remember, we had that Milton Chenin Blanc when we had the tribute to Grace Grenache, and I had that Milton Chenin Blanc from Australia because Angela Osborne, who does know Charlotte Hardy, and they are friends, another New Zealander. And she's also associated with the Wine Dogs guys who are New Zealanders living here in the States. Company's based here in New Jersey. that import mostly this really cool New Zealand and Australian portfolio. There's some other countries represented in there as well, but it's really like some of the coolest stuff you can get from those two countries. And happy to be in contact with them and get some of their wine. And this is not one that's easy to find anywhere. So so it's kind of fun to bring it in. And then thrilled when I reached out and Charlotte said she would join us. So anyway. These guys do a great job with these wines, and I remember when, if you remember back when we had Angela on, we also used that Milton Chenin Blanc because it was they are sort of like the pioneers down under Milton Biodynamic for over 30 years, and Angela said they were a great influence on her. Charlotte here in worked a lot in New Zealand, worked in other parts of the world, also has cut her teeth through other wineries in Australia. And now is really making stuff that really is kind of special, not easy to find, but we got it. And that's a cool label too. I like it. And it's good wine. I think you're going to really like that too. So that is wine number 1. All right, we're going to end that one, and I'll come back with wine number 2.